हाँ Good afternoon, one and all present here. Today is the fifth day of International Faculty Development Program organized by Srimati S. Patel Institute of Business Management, Thakajan Patel University. So for the first day, we have our first guest speaker, Professor Dr. Fifth day, we have our first guest speaker, Professor and Dr. Siddharth Shankar, who is Vice Chancellor in Indira Gandhi Technological and Medical Science University, Arunachal Pradesh, uh, Doctor of Philosophy in Management from B.R. Ambedkar, Bihar University, Muzaffarpur, Masters of Art in German Language and Communication from JNU, New Delhi, Master of Business Administration from ICFAI University, Dehradun, LLB, Indira Gandhi TMS University, Arunachal Pradesh, Master of Arts in English from Vinayak Missions University, Salem under CIU Scholarship, 2-year postgraduate diploma in Ecology and Environment, recognized at par with a master's degree in Ecology and Environment from the Indian Institute of Ecology and Environment, New Delhi. Overseas assignment, Assistant Vice President, International Business Process Reengineering Research Project. Geographic handled as part of that assignment in Austria, Germany, Hungary, Czech Republic. area of interest in leadership and its role in the growth of organizations, evolving dynamics of media in the age of hyperconnectivity and the challenges of harnessing the enormous power of new age media. CSR not a charity but an investment, change management and future orientation, key to long-term survival of organizations, business organizations and their role in society, and evolving perspectives. Peter Principle, the eternal doctrine governing human endeavor, evolving nature of managerial communication in the age of social media, how to manage government versus media relations in emerging markets like India, business communication, the need to break free from the crisp and concise jargon, corporate star consolidation of India, the case of missing Cornelius Vanderbilt's, Rockefellers, Andrew Carnegie's, J.P. Morgan's, Edison's, Henry Ford's, Bill Gates, Steve Jobs, and Elon Musk. Awards and appreciations. Promising Student Award instituted by the International Association of Educators for World Peace, IAWP, presented at New Delhi on 5th October 2000. Friends of the Aged Award instituted by the Aged Care Council of India, presented at New Delhi. World Environment and Livelihood Award instituted by the United Nations affiliated, presented at New Delhi. Spiritual and Value Education Award instituted by the Indian Institute of Ecology and Environment, presented at New Delhi. National Cleanliness Education Award instituted by the National Institute of Cleanliness Education and Research, presented at New Delhi. National Environmental Education and Protection Award 2018, instituted by the International Association for Educators for World Peace, presented at New Delhi. Case studies authored for multiple personalities around which those case studies were built are as follows. Mr. Narendra Modi, Prime Minister of India and then Chief Minister of India, Mr. Jaswant Singh, former Foreign Minister, Government of India, Mr. Oscar Fernandez, former Union Minister, Government of India, Mr. Arun Shourie, former Disinvestment Minister, Government of India, Mr. Montek Singh Ahluwalia, former Chairman, Planning Commission, Mr. N.K. Singh, former advisor to Government of India, Mrs. Kiran Bedi, retired DG of Delhi Police, Mrs. Anu Aghar, non-executive chairperson, Thermex Global, Mr. B.K. Modi, chairman, Modi Group of Industries, Mr. Arun Jain, chairman, Polaris Software Labs Limited, and sir will be talking about research and innovation in management education. Over to you.
Thank you for a rather exhaustive and very, very warm introduction. Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So today's topic is very, very interesting. In fact, this is something that all the institution should start thinking about rather seriously. Not just institutions in the space of teaching, but in fact, the whole of society should be thinking about these things, because the message of this topic impinges in a great way upon how we are going to structure our society in future, how our society and government is going to function, the kind of livelihood opportunities that would be available to future generations, and overall, the place of our country in general in the global society. So this theme resonates across a wide spectrum of issues, industries, and activities. In fact, this particular theme needs to be taken in, needs to be looked at in totality. The interesting thing is the theme that we are talking about has its roots long back in areas which are currently not being considered as part of this domain. For example, when we say industry 4.0, then usually we consider things like robotics, internet, and 5G, and basically all areas of advanced technology. However, when we start looking back into the origins of this particular term, then we find that this is not really one particular development. It is basically, a culmination of developments in so many fields across so many industries that have together created something that is known as Industry 4.0. Now, we need to understand, why is it called Industry 4.0? Many of you, I suppose most of you, would be uh, reasonably familiar with the concept of Industry 4.0. So this is a historical concept which finds its resonance in the field of economics. So if there is an Industry 4.0, I'm sure all of you would agree that there must have been something called Industry 3.0, Industry 2.0, Industry 1.0. So there is, by and large, a fairly strong agreement on what constitutes Industry 1, Industry 2, Industry 3, although different schools of thoughts in economics and history have slightly different definitions, because of which there are areas of disagreement. But by and large, everyone agrees that Industry 1.0 was basically about, some people say that Industry 1.0 was nothing else but pre-industrial age, which is agriculture, pottery, and things like that. But some other experts say that no, Industry 1.0 started with the birth of Industrial Revolution. And Industrial Revolution was all about harnessing the power of steam and the other sources of power available freely in nature, like wind and thermal, all those things. So that was Industry 1.0. Industry 2.0 was when electricity was invented. Okay, so when everything that used to be run by steam power or mechanical power, when it started to be run by electricity, then it became Industry 2. When the age of electronics came and when digitization became the norm, then that was called Industry 3. And now we have Industry 4. So Industry 4 is where Industry 1, 2, 3 plus something else comes together to create Industry 4. In this context, I would like to advise or urge everyone to look at the writings of a great futurologist called Alvin Toffler. He had foreseen so many things, like so many other great futurologists. Many of you would be fans of other futurologists. So that's okay. The point is not to be stuck with any one particular futurologist, but rather to have a feel of what those experts were saying about this. So Alvin Toffler was creating his work somewhere around early 80s, late 70s, and even early 90s. So there he had said that we would have a time when information would be stored in plastic cards, and people would be accessing money through, not just through banks, but through other channels. So he was basically trying to imagine the shape of things once the age of digitization comes into picture. It is not possible for everyone to imagine everything in great detail, unless someone claims to be an astrologer. So right now we are not talking about astrologers. We are talking about people who are able to have a foresight of future based upon the data available, not based upon some occult sciences. So data told someone like Mr. Alvin Toffler that the global economy, the world society is moving in a certain direction. And that direction was later on called as the age of convergence. When I was a student in the university, then I used to hear that we would soon have a time when mobile phones had just about entered, the common parlance. So phone, TV, and computer, all these things would merge to create one particular device. So at that point of time, those who are not really very, very familiar with the exact developments in technology could not really understand what exactly was meant when they said that multiple devices would merge into one single device. At that point of time, it was very difficult to understand how can a phone replace a television, or a television replace a computer, or a computer replace a fax machine, things like that. Because till that point of time, everything was disparate, scattered. So, but now when we look back to even to the age of to just before the dawn of the 21st century, or maybe even the first decade of 21st century, then we can see the wisdom of the people who were foreseeing this trend. And all those things now have created a situation where it can be called as the perfect storm. We are suddenly faced with a situation where those who fail to adapt, those who fail to adopt, whether it is countries, whether it is individuals, companies, educational institutions, countries, or even the global society, those who fail to adopt stand to face the terrible prospect of being relegated to the second or third level of global hierarchy of the production chain. All of us are aware that when before the age of colonialism, the hierarchy of global economy was different. The value added goods were being produced not in the places which are currently identified as sources of value added production. So at that point of time, large countries like India and China, and to a large extent even Africa, were known for producing value-added goods. That is why global trade was heavily skewed in favor of these countries. Many of you would be surprised to know that one of the reasons why the Roman Empire collapsed was because the Roman Empire was not in a position to continue to pay for the imports that it was making from India. So the Roman currency and the Roman treasury were just not in a position to maintain the situation of a heavy outflow of gold and other precious materials that were there because of the international trade that was happening between Europe, which at that point of time was largely Roman Empire, and India. So India was sending precious things like silk, cotton, dresses, and precious gems, spices, things like that. Those and even metals. Metal work was hugely developed in India. So was the case with China. But now, when we look at the global economy, we find that the value chain has kind of shifted its position in a 180-degree fashion. Those who were large importers before the age of industrial revolution have become large exporters. And right now, the trend is even, getting further skewed in the form of it is no longer about exporting large volumes, but rather about exporting large value. For example, if there can be one country, let's take the example of, say, a country like China. So China will make, let's say, maybe $1 billion by selling 1 billion pairs of slippers in America, right? Whereas America can make the same amount of money by selling 2 fighter aircrafts. So what is the difference? The difference is in the value that is being generated. So 1 billion pair of slippers will have the same value as 1 or 2 fighter aircrafts. That kind of distinction has now been created in the supply chain, in the global economy, where the focus is going to be largely on value creation. Of course, quantity continues to have place. For example, goods of mass consumption will definitely always be important for global society, for individual countries, for companies, and for individuals also. The starkest lesson in this context was delivered by Corona. It's very simple things like salt, sugar, basic medicines, they became shortage during that period of time. Why? Because we were not in a position to control the supply chain. So a question comes, why are we discussing things like supply chain? Because Industry 4.0 in a large way is about supply chain. There's a very interesting discussion that is going on in the world of management education, or among the management experts throughout the world today, that global economy is not just about supply chain. Right now, we have a situation where, in fact, supply chain is the economy in many ways. So, and supply chain is basically convergence of so many factors, So when we say Industry 4.0, apart from technology, we are also talking about convergence of human resource, convergence of natural resources, convergence of synergy between different companies, different societies. So it's a very, very complicated thing. And it's also very new. So not many countries, not many companies are very familiar with what needs to be done. So a question arises that how will the global society cope up with this changing situation? Ultimately, human resource has to be prepared for this. So, when we talk about preparing the human resource for this kind of massive shift or tectonic shift in the way industry is organized throughout the world, then we have to talk about the role of educational to his daughter or to his son. It is not just about that. Right now, we have a situation where learning and imparting of skills has become a very, very complicated thing. It requires an institutional setup. That is why we have mushrooming of universities, technical education centers, schools all over the world. And so far, the universities and technical education centers were focusing upon rather generic kinds of education. For example, mechanical engineering. In engineering, if we are talking, then mechanical engineering, say, civil engineering, computer engineering, different disparate areas that were so far not talking to each other beyond a few things. For example, to do good calculations or high level calculations in any branch of engineering or any kind of activity, you require familiarity with computers. So beyond that, the synergy was not very significant so far. But now we have a situation where it is going to be very, very difficult for any industry to function or any field to function in isolation. We have something like, say, medical statistics, or concepts like biomedical engineering. When we were kids, we used to hear that if you are good at mathematics, you go for engineering. If you are good in biology or life sciences, you go for medical stream. But now you have something called as biomedical engineering. So this is basically, coming together of the life sciences and engineering. So this is a very, very simple example. So now, if you go to companies in say defense sector or say pharma sector or even upcoming industries like quantum computing, in quantum computing, skills like linguistics would be hugely applied in a big way. At the moment in computer science, we only hear in at a very theoretical level that skills from social science like linguistics and grammar would be used in computer sciences, but those are very theoretical ideas. So far we have not had a situation where computer science is extensively using human knowledge areas like in linguistics and grammar. But when we talk about quantum computing, then it will be a completely different kind of computer that will be utilizing a completely different kind of computing language, where areas of expertise like linguistics would be hugely in demand. Now robotics companies are extensively hiring people from philosophy background, people from ethics background. For example, think about a situation where you are a company that is producing automated transportation vehicles, and the vehicle is faced with a situation. It's a hypothetical situation that there are, let's say, 10 people sitting in a bus which is traveling at high speed, and suddenly the bus encounters a situation where 5 children are there on the road. So the bus has to make a situation whether to save the 10 people sitting inside the bus or save the 5 children on the road. So this is not a question of engineering. This is not a question of calculation. It is a question of ethics. It is a question of philosophy. So this kind of coming together of different industries, disparate areas of expertise was not foreseen so far. That is why, it is very, very critical that universities start thinking in that direction, and especially Department of Management Education. Unfortunately, so far, management education was also a very, very secluded and kind of island-like existence. It's it is very strange. I mean, if you look at management education, then in management education we study different disciplines, and in all those disciplines there are independent areas of study where the graduates are almost invariably better in the competence in that particular area. For example, you may be studying accounting. So a chartered accountant or a cost accountant on any given day would be significantly better at accounting than even the best of managers from the best of management institutions, unless they have an accounting background. Similarly, you may be a great people manager, but your knowledge of psychology would never be in a position to compete with the knowledge of psychology of someone who has done a good quality MA in psychology or MSc in clinical psychology, things like that. So management education also needs to think that it needs to evolve beyond the paradigm that has so far been associated with management as a discipline. The key point is, how does management education, conceptualize itself in the future? So as we discussed a few moments ago, just as global society, companies are thinking about creating maximum value, similarly, management education too has to think about how to maximize the value that it provides to its stakeholders. So the stakeholders would be, say, students, the industry partners, and faculty members, apart from the institution itself, of course. So if we take a cursory look at the universities or B schools all over India, right, let us focus on India for the moment. But that which is true for India would be true for most of the developing countries. In developed countries, it's different, because that what we are talking today was foreseen around 20 years ago in developed countries. That is why management education in great institutions like, say, Ivy League universities is very, very different from management education in most of the institutions in India, except for a few. Like let's say, if you are talking about Indian School of Business, then it is different. Maybe some the old IAMs, not the new IAMs. The new IAMs, most of them do not have the expertise to go for that kind of value creation, which some of the old IAMs, especially Ahmedabad, Bangalore, and Calcutta, have learned to do. And among the private institutions like ISB, SPJAN, you know, the Great Lakes in Chennai. These are some examples of institutions in India that are providing very good quality management education. However, there is still a big difference between the management education that is being provided in these institutions, and the management education that is expected from these institutions in the context of the needs of Industry 4.0. Usually, we find that the difference between grade A and grade B institutions in India, insofar as management education is concerned, is about the competence of the students in select areas. For example, very good quality institutions like, let's say, IIM Calcutta would have a situation where their students would be comparatively significantly better at quantitative areas. So, and second rung or third rung MBA institutions would have a situation where their students would be terrified with the idea of studying anything quantitative by nature. You can see it in your class. It's also that most of the students that we find in 80% of the institutions providing management education in India are terrified with the idea of studying quantitative fields, quantitative techniques. So, which is very sad, because going forward, unless you are really, really good at the quantitative aspect of management, then it will be very, very difficult for students to survive, in the marketplace of the jobs that will be created in the future. So, and so many other skills. For example, today we may have a situation where someone may be very good at quantitative techniques, but the same person will not be very good at, say, computational skills like, say, basic programming or advanced data analytics techniques. So that is yet another expertise that needs to be built into the students if they have to compete with the global scenario, with their competitors from around the world. Because we need to keep in mind that students from all the countries in the world are now being trained to compete in the global marketplace. Every country will absorb a very large number of its output from the universities and B schools, but ultimately a significantly large number of output from developing countries where population is in surplus would congregate in the global marketplace to compete for the jobs. And that does not necessarily mean that they will be migrating outside of their countries. It also means that industry itself would be migrating to those countries that provide better skills. So today, we need to think, why is it that software computing have shifted to India? Because India was providing large number of reasonably skilled people in computer sciences. However, tomorrow, if we have a situation as it is today, we can see that with the development in technology, with the advancement of things like, generative artificial intelligence, basic computational skills like programming are becoming obsolete. You no longer need to know programming. The artificial intelligence can do it for you. What you need to do is to understand or to be able to verify the mistakes that artificial intelligence is committing. So, supervisory skills, not vis-a-vis, human to human relationship, but human to systems relationship are going to be very, very important. So, and ability to contextualize things. This is an old problem that has not yet been completely overcome. So managers all over the world have to deal with a situation where the nature of information that is made available to them, especially to the managers in the higher levels of the hierarchy within any organization, the nature of that of information is such that it is very scattered. It is raw. There is no relationship between them. So can give you some kind of correlation or relationship between disparate data elements. But the human competence has to be of the level where it can differentiate between what is a good correlation and what is a bad correlation. There's very funny example in this context that needs to be taken into account. Or, for example, when I was a student, then one of my professors who was from Syracuse University, New York, in United States, he told me, or he told the class about a research that was conducted, a spoof research that was conducted in one of the Ivy League universities in United States, somewhere around 1950s or 60s, I suppose, late 60s or 70s, something like that. So the data point was the rise in sales of branded cigarettes. And the second counter data point was the kind of garments, the female garments that were being sold. The rise in sales value and volume of different items of women's clothing. So correlation was done, and it was found that the larger the sale of branded cigarettes the sale of branded cigarettes in United States had a very strong correlation with the sale of multicolored bikini items in United States. So this is obviously, all of us can say that it's a very spurious correlation. It's just not possible. But for us to be able to arrive at this conclusion, we need to understand what correlation is. If we apply the technique of correlation between any two sets of data, then there would be some kind of correlation mostly. It is very difficult to have a situation where the correlation between any two data sets would be zero. Either it will be somewhere in the negative territory or somewhere in the positive territory. But as managers, we need to understand that not every correlation is valid. So that which is true for correlation is also true for so many other areas. For example, in the global marketplace today, in companies or in jobs market, we may have come across situations where companies are focusing upon diversity. So in the name of diversity, companies have started focusing upon things that are very, very questionable from the point of view of productivity on the workplace. For example, emphasis on LGBTQ. For someone in our kind of cultural context, it is very, very difficult to understand why does management and workplace in a company needs to have diversity in its sexual orientation. So as managers or as institutions, it is important for us to understand that every trend, takes time to mature. Initially, when any trend comes into education or training or society, there are phases of absurdity in that trend. So as institutions, we are expected to be able to differentiate between high value and genuine value creating trends in any kind of trend in education, and that which is simple fad, which is likely to go away after some time. So these are likely to be the hallmarks of great institutions that will hold them in great stead. Otherwise, if it were simply about copying the syllabus of great institutions, then it is no big deal. Any university anywhere in the world can log on to the internet and copy the syllabus of, say, Stern School of Business or Harvard Business School and start teaching that syllabus. Most of that syllabus is, it is not practically impossible to find people who can teach that syllabus. After all, it is about, say, accounting, economics, basic mathematics, psychology, English communication, and nowadays even computational skills. So in uh, in itself, it is not so difficult to find teachers who can teach those disciplines. What is difficult is, to find people who can understand the relationship between those different disciplines, and impart that kind of awareness among the students. We also need to understand that management is basically, a 2-year program. So in a 2-year program, it is not possible humanly, it is not possible to teach everything to a student. So the success of management program also depends upon the success of educational programs downstream. That is the quality of raw material coming into the B schools or management education program determines the quality of output. If you have very good quality undergraduate students in United States, for example, even if you are you're pursuing something like BA political science, still you'll be very, very good at statistics. You'll be good at economics. You will have a very, very good grasp of computational techniques like database, and Excel and SPSS, things like that. So that is why if you go to the website of companies like, say, McKinsey, you would find that people who are occupying very high places in those companies would have a background like BA in political science. Can you imagine a situation in our country where, the MD of Tata Consultancy Services is someone who has a MA in political science degree? Can you imagine that situation? It is not possible, because in our education system, we are not providing that kind of interdisciplinary education. There are very few institutions that are doing that on a consistent basis. One or two that come to mind, not really in management education, because when I was a student of JNU, management was was not taught as a separate discipline in JNU. But at that point of time, I'm not talking about the present situation. I'm not familiar with what is happening in JNU at the moment. All that I hear is bad publicity. But at that point of time, apart from subject areas, we were taught by our faculty members the art of thinking, how to think, how to connect two different pieces of information, two or more different pieces of information to create a narrative, to create a story. Ultimately, managers have to be very, very good storytellers, motivating people, extracting the best out of them. Among many other things is also about storytelling. Can you give a large vision to your workforce, to your colleagues, and motivate them enough so that they give their best to achieve the desired outcome? So, when we talk about Industry 4.0, then it's a very, very large canvas that we are talking about. It is not just about technology. Initially, when I was starting this presentation, I said that it is the coming together of different technologies. But one needs to understand that technology also has an impact on the way other areas like social sciences are conceived and taught. So apart from technology, it is also about how we think. Are we in a position to create people, to produce people who have good creative and analytical mind? Ultimately, management education in the age of Industry 4.0 would boil down to these two factors. That can we create people who are analytical? Can we create people who are creative across multiple domains? If you are very good in analytical skills, then it doesn't matter whether you are presented with a problem from political science or a problem from geography or a problem from mathematics. You would be in a position to deal with those things irrespective of the domain. Of course, I mean, if you are not very familiar with something like, say, genetics, and if you are presented with a problem, then, and even if you have a very good analytical mind, you will require some time to get hold of the fundamentals of that discipline. But once you get that, then you certainly can solve the problems. Fortunately for us, we are fast. Hello, hello, hello.
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Sir, it
Yes,
is
sir. You are
audible.
audible.
So fortunately for us, we are fast approaching a situation where, skill acquisition would not be the primary objective of going to an educational institution. You may have heard, many of you would have heard about a company created and being run by Elon Musk that is called the Neuralink. So, what is Neuralink? Neuralink is a company that envisions a future where once a child is born and once a child reaches a certain level of maturity, say 14, 15 or 13, whatever it is, I don't exactly remember the exact age, but let's say if it is 15 or 16, whatever. So a chip would be implanted into your mind in such a way that you, through Wi-Fi or Li-Fi network, you would be in a position to import data from global internet, and that data can also be about skills, right? So if you don't know a particular skill, and tomorrow with the birth of something like quantum computing, and we are in a position to decipher the operating system of human mind, human brain, to understand the language that human computer uses, then we may very well have a situation where all that you require to learn a skill is to download a particular program from a computer. So would you really be going to a university or a B school to learn a skill? At that point of time, all of you would agree that it would not be about skill. It would be about your capability to think and analyze, your capability to be creative, to find solutions in very little, in a resource constant environment. So ultimately, everything is going to a situation, as used to be the case in olden days, in classical age, where, it was not just about skill. It was ultimately about how you think. And that is what would ultimately determine the success or failure of managers and management educations in Industry 4.0. I guess, this is all that I had to say. Of course, we can talk about endlessly on this topic. Every particular sub area of this particular topic can be developed into a series of books, because these are very new areas, whether it is Internet of Things, robotics, and 5G, 6G, Wi-Fi, Li-Fi. All these things are very new, and research is being continuously done in those areas. Applied psychology, the human brain computer interface. So these things are being done in a big way, and you can conduct huge programs, a series of lectures on each of those things. But the important thing why we are here is not to go extensively into the depth of each of those subject areas, each of those themes, but rather to have a panoramic view of what it means to face this kind of situation, to face a workplace which is like that. So, I mean, that is all that I had to say. I guess, if anyone has any question, I'd be happy to answer that. Otherwise, I have given my contact details in the presentation. I'd be happy to answer the questions through mail or through other mediums of communication also. Thank you so much. Yeah, Dr. Mishra, over to you.
Just a minute. Wait, sir. Thank you very much.
Of course, I forgot to thank you for the huge effort that you have taken to organize this particular program. I know how difficult it is to coordinate with so many people. I am not very good at that. I mean, although I occupy a position where I am expected to be good at that, but let me be very honest, I thrive because of the help that I receive from people like you. It's a great quality that you have. Congratulations to you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for your kind words.
Thank you so much, sir, for such an informative session and discussing some good points like qualitative tactics, competitive skills, industry and marketplace, global learning place, big data analytics. Thank you so much, sir. Now we have our second guest speaker, Dr. Amrish Singh, Assistant Professor of Management and Registrar at Rajkiya Engineering College, Azamgarh, Uttar Pradesh. Qualifications: MBA, PhD, UIIM Ahmedabad, PDT IIM Indore, and IIM Raipur. Dr. Amrish Singh has completed his PhD in Business Administration from University of Lucknow, where he worked on purchase decision making of young consumers in India. He has completed residential faculty development program at IIM Ahmedabad in the year 2018. Currently, he is working as assistant professor in management in Rajkiya Engineering College, Azamgarh, Uttar Pradesh. Prior to this, he was faculty member in Department of Business Administration, University of Lucknow. He has more than 13 years of research and teaching experience to under and postgraduate classes of business administration and engineering. He has published quality papers in high-ranked journals on consumer decision and entrepreneurship, and also presented his research work in reputed conferences in India and abroad. He has been trained from IIM Ahmedabad, Tata Institute of Social Science, Mumbai, IIM Indore, IIM Raipur, and other top institutions of the country in advanced research methods and teaching pedagogy. He is also a prominent speaker in the field of entrepreneurship, research methods, effective communication, and public policy. He has chaired sessions in the international conferences in IIT Delhi, IIT Allahabad, Sindham Mumbai, Manipal University, Singhad Institute Pune, Jaipuria, Ghaziabad, etc. Frequently delivers expert lectures in FDP training University of Rajasthan, Hansak in Karnataka, Cuttack in Odisha, MMUT Gorakhpur, and various other institutes across the country. He has organized several workshops and FTPs also. He was also the convener of the IIMA first FTP conference come reunion at IIM Ahmedabad in May 2023. He has organized various FTPs, workshops, and seminars in the past. And sir will be talking about social entrepreneurship, a roadmap ahead for prosperous India. Over to you, sir.
Okay, thank you very much, Divyansi. Such an elaborate introduction. I knew it was more than what actually I am doing currently. So, Just confirm me that I am audible to all the audiences, Divyansi, if you can confirm.
Yes, sir.
Okay, it's audible. Okay, thank you very much. So, okay, very good afternoon to all the, especially the participant first, because this time, if you are spending your quality time to stay in a particular session, it's really very important for teachers to have time from their busy schedule and go for the online programs while they are doing so many things in their respective institutions. That COVID has impacted on us. So before starting of my session, I actually say to thanks first for the invitation from Sakalchand Patel University, Visnagar, Gujarat. And I really thankful to Professor Jasri Datta, who is currently principal of S.B. Patel Institute of Management there, the Dean Professor Sarma, and the invitation from where the contact point in this university, Dr. Pradeep Kumar Misra, who is a very passionate and what I can say entrepreneurial in nature. Wherever he, in the last many years I know him, he is very active to organize such conferences, seminars, and FDPs. And I request all the participants, when you actually go through and see the schedule of this, you actually enjoyed these sessions in the last 5 days. He actually arranged the number of the people from India and abroad and combined them with the timing issues in his schedule. This is also very important because doing the things from the 5 days along, it's very difficult task. And I really congratulate Dr. Misra, who is, I think, successful in this endeavor. And I'm also very fortunate enough that I have the opportunity to take the last session before valedictory of this FDP. Dr. Misra, I think I'm audible and I can start my presentation.
Thank you very much.
And being in the last, we always have this dilemma that almost 90% presentations, 90% stops have been done. So that's why what actually I will do, I'll summarize the things in terms of what we can say with the theme of social entrepreneurship, which is my core area of research and writing. So I request administration if I can share my screen. Okay.
You have already, you can share your screen, sir.
Yeah. It's visible, Professor?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Okay, thank you very much. The topic which have been assigned by Dr. Misra to me is I have to talk about the social entrepreneurship. And definitely when we are living in this 21st century, where entrepreneurship becomes a central point, not only for this country, but for all the globe. And in India, which we know, our very respected Prime Minister who actually belong from Gujarat itself, and what Dr. Misra has told to me that he's near to the place of Visnagar. And for me also, Gujarat is like a second home because I'm an alumni of IIM Ahmedabad and recently organized the reunion come very successful conference there in this last May. So I used to travel at least twice in a year to Gujarat. And when Pradhan Mantri Modi itself was the Chief Minister of Gujarat for the last 12, 13 years, he started Vibrant Gujarat. And when he became Prime Minister, he initiated number of things to make the youth aware about the things related to the entrepreneurship, launching a new business, what are the core things, how the ecosystem took their own roles. And you have aware about this. On the basis of that, in the year 2016, the Startup India mission has been started. Before that, when you remember, the ministry was there, but the cumulative efforts were not there. So people always think in India, they are only have the opportunity when they are doing graduation, post-graduation, engineering, management, they are only have the opportunity to do the job. Very less number of people who are from business background or who have the very deep passion about the entrepreneurship, they only go to that direction. But when you talk about today, after 10 years, if you will take 2014 and 2023-24, you can easily understand that the entrepreneurship is going to be the one of the foremost career choices in the couple of years. because the opening of the number of incubation centers, the Startup India working itself, the mentors are actually coming to this ground. Each and every institution is trying to develop this ecosystem of entrepreneurship. So when actually we started social entrepreneurship, when I started actually teaching Lucknow University in the year 2016, it was a very newer concept in the academia. But today when we talk about entrepreneurship, it's mandatory, I think. In almost all the universities and the colleges, they have definitely have some course for the undergraduate or postgraduate program. Some of the universities have also started postgraduate program in entrepreneurship. So means we need a strong workforce. We need a strong think tank which actually work in this direction, which not only prepare the students to there. So that always when we talk about the entrepreneurship in this type of FDPs, we think what is this? Why it is important? That there are two facets of this. Either there is very less chances that many of the professors who are attending this particular FDP, they are interested to become an entrepreneur. But on an average, the academic career of 35 years, you can inspire many of the aspiring young brains to become an entrepreneur. So it's up to us also that we should also prepare ourselves in the field of entrepreneurship and social entrepreneurship so that we can better guide to our students in this direction. And this field is very, very emerging, not only in terms of the training, entrepreneurial training, but in terms of the research and teaching also. So that is why it's important to know, to create awareness among the faculty members about this concept of social entrepreneurship. So when we are coming to this, I actually remember two people. Everywhere I started social entrepreneurship talk, so without Eunice, it's not completed, because he is the person who make this term social business familiar, or who actually given the concept and the people take an interest, and there are different forms you can see of the social business. But I will start my talk with pay my regards and condolences to India's one of the famous, or you can say the first generation social entrepreneurs. And his name is Sri Bindeshwar Pathak. I hope many of people know that. Those people who have some attachment to the Bihar itself, they are aware about Sri Bindeshwar Pathak belonged to Bihar. And he was a true social worker. And he was not only a social worker, he became a successful social entrepreneur. And he established a social organization which named as the Sulabh International. And unfortunately, he died on 15th August this year only. When you see the working of the Sulabh International, you will understand what actually the social entrepreneurship is, what actually the social business is. Means there are number of issues around us, there are number of problems around us. We need to give the solutions. And when we talk about the sanitation, when we talk about the hygiene, it's a primary thing with running around us. Bindeshwar Pathak has taken this thing as a mission, and he established the organization, and he faced several problems in the beginning. But when he established a pure organization, currently it's a social business who are generating revenue, and that revenue is actually establishing the different field. Now, Sulabh International is not working only in the field of the hygiene and sanitation, but it's also working in the non-conventional energy resources. So that person was very, very important, and India's social entrepreneurship journey cannot be written without the mentioning Bindeshwar Pathak and the Sulabh International. Now I again come to all the people who have any of the connection with social entrepreneurship. They are aware about Muhammad Yunus. Yunus was a professor in Bangladesh who established Grameen Bank, and Grameen Bank on the concept of the social business. Means we are actually reaching to the people who are needy into that. They are actually sufferer of the higher rate of interest in the open market. And Muhammad Yunus started with their own colony, with their own people, and he established this giant in Bangladesh. Now, you can see there are a number of the Grameen is not only generating the revenue and developing Grameen Bank only, but they started several other initiatives in the name of the Grameen. And so that's why it's created an ecosystem also for social businesses. And Yunus born on 28 June. So that is why in across the globe, this 28 June is celebrated as a social business day. There are various Yunus centers of social businesses in India itself. There are many professors who are deeply engaged to Yunus and working on this social business concepts. They have opened their center in the respective institutions, not only in India, they're in different nations of the SAARC, East Asia, in Europe also, you can find the Yunus Business Center. So this personality is very important. So that is important, but even we are talking about the social business, Yunus is the person who is a central point or a starting point where you can talk about this. Now come to the next slide. Why entrepreneurship is important nowadays? If I started with this only. More than 1 million ventures in a year. When we talk about this, today is the age of the startups. Today is the age of the unicorns. People are talking about that the nation will be prosperous who have the larger number of startups. When we talk about the 10 years back in 2014-15, you can see the rank of the India in terms of the startups. We were nowhere. Nowhere means we are out of 20 itself. When we talk about 2020, we are in top 10. But when we talk about the 22-23, we are in top 3 after China and US. And we talk about our startups who are actually becoming unicorns. India is also in a very healthy position. So the 1 million ventures is not a limited amount, but we are not talking all the ventures are successful. But for any ventures who are making successful, we need to establish that venture. So as number of ventures will be higher, the rate of success will be higher. And as the inception of the rate of inception will be lower, how we can talk about the success of that ventures? Still, the success ratio is not very much satisfactory. It was more than 10-15%, but still this is a good number. Sometimes when the people started, the rate is only 5%. Means 95% means if 100 startups are taking place in a year, 90 startups had died before commercialization. But those 5 ventures, if they are succeeding, their path is very, very successful ahead. Product service introduction rate higher than ever before. Means the world, not about the world, when we talk about the India is now a growth engine of the world. We are at the 5th position this time in terms of the GDP of the countries across the world. And we are very hopeful that after 5 years, we will at the number 3. And it may be possible that the growth rate of India like this will be at the number 1 in some time later. You can see the growth rate of India. It's 6.3%, which mentioned by that, but actual growth rate is always higher because many of the things in India, which is not very much actually categorically justified, they are also contributing. 6% growth rate at this time, when the people say the world is facing a second round of the recession, second round of slow growth rate, but India is facing a growth rate more than 6%. It's very, very good number. We are ahead of the China also. So when the growth rate of a country is higher, when you have the young population with you, when there are very big consumer market are here, it's a time to establish the venture, either commercial venture or social venture. So when the things are in your direction that you can take the path of prosperity, this is the right time. Means this phase is the right time. 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, 20 years. Because as many startups will be created, the growth rate of the country will automatically be higher. The unemployment rate will be automatically lower. So this is the time of actually hit the ball. Rate of wealth creation increased many times. I was also showing this 10 years before when we talk about how much contribution startups are doing in terms of the GDP and what actually they are doing currently is the exponentially higher. There is no match before 10 years of the entrepreneurial ventures, actually what they are doing. And most of the departments have started this single window system, single window operations. When we talk about where I belong to in Uttar Pradesh itself, Uttar Pradesh 10 years back, 20 years means, because the Uttar Pradesh is a landlocked state, there is no ports. Ports is always required for the higher rate of industrial development. But the leadership actually changed the vision of the investors across the globe. Now, Uttar Pradesh is organized GIS this year, Global Investment Summit, and they attracted more than 22 lakh crores investment in principles. But the government is very, very thoughtful about that. In the next 5 years, more than 10 lakh crore investment will become just through this GIS summit. And this GIS summit is not only happening in Uttar Pradesh, it's happening in different states also. Currently, there was an issue when the Gujarat chief minister is doing the roadshow for vibrant Gujarat in Maharashtra also. The Maharashtra, they are also doing the things. Means the India as a country and the different states as a block, they are doing their efforts in this direction. So that's the new investments should be done, new ventures can be created, and it's time of the global revolution, and this growth engine is India. The entrepreneurial revolution as centered in India itself. India is leading to that movement. So these are the background that why entrepreneurship is needed in this country. There are few definition of entrepreneur and social entrepreneur. Those who are new to this concept, they must understand theoretically. Who is an entrepreneur? Entrepreneur can be anyone in any field. A teacher can also be an entrepreneur who always thinks to do some creativity, do some innovation, and do something which not happening earlier. Then an entrepreneur is anyone who innovate and who has a goal of growth and development for themselves and their businesses. Everybody is an entrepreneur. But when we talk about the social entrepreneur, it starts with a very, very focused social objective, social mission. So who is social? What is social entrepreneurship? It's for a social purpose. Social purpose can be anything. Because when we talk about the ancient time, Aristotle says the man is a social animal. Means the nature of the human being cannot survive in alone. The nature of the human being, the survival is possible in the society. And when we are living in the society, there are several problems we can see around us. And the problems are dynamic. The problems are not static. If you will give solution to something, it can vanish forever. The problems are coming, the passing of the time. The problems of sanitation, what Sulabh International did, the problems of food for the people, the problem of electricity for the people, the problem of clothes for the people, the problem of technology for the people, the problem of internet, media, and there is number of things which can be solved through the innovation. When they combine innovation, entrepreneurship, and social purpose to seek financially sustainable by generating revenue for trading. Means what actually social entrepreneurship does? It combines innovation, because when you have to do the innovation for solving that social problem, you need a very, very committed entrepreneur, and you need a purpose that if I solve this problem, my social ego will be fulfilled, my purpose will be fulfilled. So when we combine these three variables for a financially sustainable by generating revenue for trading, it's a social entrepreneurship. It's very clear that social entrepreneurship is not a social charity. Social entrepreneurship is a business model. It generates revenue, but its revenue is not actually like commercial businesses. We will talk about that further slides. The social businesses, They generate revenue for their own survival, for the extension of that particular business, for reaching to the other number of the people. The social mission prioritize social benefits above financial benefits, When solving the problem, making people living standards higher than what actually they are living today is a priority for a social entrepreneur. Generation of profit is necessary, but their generation of profit is not is the only thing and the highest priority. It's necessary. But when a surplus is made, this is used to further social aims of the beneficiary group of community and not distributed to those with a controlling interest in the enterprises. This is a social business model. This is social entrepreneurship in a definition, which is very beautifully written by Howe and Tracy in 2004. Now, if we understand this, the half work is done. Means the first segregation is very, very important. It's not a charity, it's not a non-profit, it is a for-profit business, but business generating profit is not a primary agenda. The primary agenda is the solving the problem of the people. And when we are generating the surplus, it's not very easy to generate the surplus in social businesses. So that's time it's very important. Your commitment is at the highest priority that no, I will solve this problem. It will take years and years. It will take 10 years, 12 years, 15, 20 years. And it may be possible that you cannot generate surplus in any time of the business in a particular social venture. But we have the success story also. I will tell some success story. When you see about this, it's phenomenal. Solving problem is the primary objective. If we are making the surplus, we will not actually distribute like the commercial businesses. It will be used to further strengthen this profit to other communities, similar communities. That is the social business. I think it's clear to the participant. Now here only we need to understand in a single line why commercial and social entrepreneurship are different, how they are actually nature-wise different. Social and commercial entrepreneurs have most of the same characteristics. It's necessary. Both have the clear objective mindset, decision-making ability, taking risk, organizing a team, having some financial know-how. They have some linkages to the markets. Means the majority of the attributes what actually the commercial entrepreneurs have and what the social entrepreneurs have, they're same. But the only big difference is that commercial and social entrepreneurs, the denomination of the returns. When we talk about the big companies, purely commercial companies, they talk about the profit first, and they're only not meant for the social agenda. They are meant for the commercial agenda. They have to give the solution to the society and generating the profit. But here in the terms of the social entrepreneurs, they actually solve the problems and they make the surplus. So we are using the term surplus in when we are talking about social entrepreneurs, and when we are using commercial entrepreneurs, we use profits. So this denomination is actually changed. Otherwise, you are entrepreneur, whether you are a commercial or social, it doesn't mean you have your training, your mindset, your decision-making ability, all the things will be like a true entrepreneur. So it's not like this when our students are coming to us, we justify, we categorically we cannot divide ki commercial, social entrepreneurs, when actually their ability has been grown up. When they are coming to the approaches, one is coming from the food delivery app and one is coming to solve some problem of the rural women in the nearby villages. This is the difference. The food delivery app is purely a commercial business. He's talking about the something like he is inspired by the Zomato and Swiggy and try to develop their own app for this particular locality. But he's an entrepreneur. And when the person who can come and they actually solve, and I will try to take an example here only of my own district. Azamgarh, there is is not what I can say is black pottery is very, very famous. there is one very good initiative of the state government in Uttar Pradesh about the one district, one product. So this is chosen by state government about Azamgarh district, that black pottery means a very special kind of flower pots and different monuments they are actually preparing. But the actual issue, when our student team visited there, try to help them, one of the group of the students who are actually interested in entrepreneurship, I was working with them. So I went to those people and I talked to them. Then our student went there. And when they studied, they identified that the packing material is not actually what they have. Means they are struggling with the packaging material issue. This is a problem for that. It's not a money making for our students. So they came in their laboratory to actually do the experiments of mechanical and civil students. Majority of them are the mechanical students. And they actually prepare the boxes for them. And when they went there with those boxes, they very much appreciated for this. So this is type of the social problems which can be solved. There's small social problems around us. We can take the lead into that. Okay. Now come to the process of a social entrepreneurship. What is the process? Find an opportunity. So when we talk, it's not very different for commercial or social. The opportunity is everywhere. But once another people had utilized, then only we thought it is the opportunity to us. Then the opportunity for the businesses, when we talk commercial or social, its opportunity is the common. When we talk about the Ola and Uber, they are very successful examples. When we talk about the Oyo rooms, when we talk about the Swiggy and Zomato, the opportunity was there. Some entrepreneurs have seen that opportunity. Some people have missed that opportunity. Those who find that opportunity relevant, they utilize that and they are actually generating surplus and generating profits for that. For that opportunity, we need to develop a business concept. Business is not theoretical. Business means the entrepreneur has to come to the battleground. And before coming to the battleground, he must be equipped with all the arms and the ammunition with her or him. What actually entrepreneurship, develop a business concept. And in that business concept, your idea should be like that. Those have the impact in the market. Very good idea. But when you are actually converting that idea into a reality, you come up with that product and that product fails in the market. Then there is no means. Your thought process was very good, your idea was very good, but when the idea converted into reality and when the product comes to the market, it's failed. For that thing, we need to develop a business concept. And business means you have a very good, if there is a manufacturing something very good manufacturing plan, then you have a marketing plan, then the very good finance plan, then you have the team for that. And finally, there's the controlling and monitoring itself. So before starting a business, half-heartedly, you need to work on that to convert to that idea when you find an opportunity to develop into a business concept. And when you develop your business concept, nowadays you can see that there are several competitions, there are several hackathons are organizing in the different parts of the country. Almost each and every day, when you have a good team of the students with whom you work and develop a good idea, you want to piece that idea into reality. Almost 365 days in a year. Anywhere you can search, there will some hackathons are going on. The Startup India is twice in a year. They are doing AICT Innovation Cell is doing. There are big hackathons at the national level. Many of the IITs are actually doing that hackathon. Many good engineering institutions are doing that, where you have to present that idea. And nowadays, the time of the technology. So when you see about the ideas in the social ventures also, many of the ventures are dependent on the technology nowadays, of the machine learning, AI, analytics. But you have the opportunity now. Means you need not to actually move here and there to see that. If you have a good business concept to develop, you have to prepare foolproof plan, and you can present those to these hackathons. There are experts there. Many of us are actually aware about the Shark Tank also. If you feel that your idea is like something which can create a very good impact in the society, you can go to the Shark Tank also. And if you won the prizes there, it's a worthy. Some of the there, they will give you the mentoring facility also. They will have a place in their incubation cell also. They will provide the scholarship also, where you can work more on that. But once you are ready, then check with the people, with the experts. Now come to the market, figure out what success means and how to measure it. Acquire the right resources. Here I try to give an example of a student graduated from IIT Kanpur. It may be possible that he started a social venture named as the Fool. Fool means flower wala, Fool. What actually he is doing, when he was preparing some project, he visited to the temples of Kanpur itself. He was studying in IIT Kanpur, and you are aware about that. Under some of you that definitely aware about that. He traveled to the temples. He see that what they observed, the team observed that the people are using flowers in the morning and they have no use in the evening. What he actually did, he started to collecting those waste, those flower waste from those temples, and developed a manufacturing facility to convert those into a raw material and preparing the agarbattis, what we can say, dhoop-battis, agarbattis, and any fragrance, something. And now its idea becomes successful. So there is a story in UP, 3-4, after any 3-4 months, we have in the books Fool. So what actually they did? They saw the opportunity. They find an opportunity. They develop that business concept. They establish a manufacturing process, and they come out with acquire the right resources. And now it's not only limited to the Kanpur. Few months back, I studied the story that the Fool is trying to connect with the temples in Varanasi, because there are thousands of the temples in the Varanasi, and the Varanasi is the bigger place rather than the Kanpur to collect the waste of the flowers. So that they operated their business also here. The opportunity was there since beginning, but how many people are actually converting those opportunity in a business idea? That is very, very important. So that was launch and grow. And finally, what the social problem he is doing by collecting those waste from the temples is solving a social problem. That many of the times that if they will not, these garbage cannot be smart, will create a problem for the people. They create a problem for the society. There is one story you can understand. We always see in the movie like a Padman. What Agastya Chalam in Tamil Nadu, what he actually did for the people, for the rural women, where there is a myth, the lady has to face several problems, but they started that idea. And not only this, that idea has also replicated to the several parts of the country. Like the established brand, there are many who are providing the sanitary pads. There are local companies also who are only providing to 4-5 districts, 10 districts. But they develop that facility because that business model can easily be replicated. This is another beauty of this social ventures, because they are many of the social ventures, they are focusing on a problems of a particular community at a particular place, and it's very difficult for them to actually scale up. I was working on the scaling of the social enterprises, but they are not very much easy to scale up social enterprises because they are limited to the particular place. But once they can be replicated, easily they can reach towards the different parts of this country and can be replicated in different parts of the world also. This is the process. Now we are moving ahead towards the characteristics, and I was deliberating on these points so that we have some idea about this. And those people who are interested, they can go to other research of this field also. There are several good journals and the research areas also in social entrepreneurship. The characteristics of social enterprise. We adopting a mission to create and sustain social value. Social value. Sometimes it has been also observed that once our idea has become successful, many social entrepreneurs converted into commercial entrepreneurs. PPT is not moving, Miss Professor Misra?
No,
No, it is not moving, sir.
Which PPT? It is.
It's the first slide.
Since beginning, it's not moving.
Right now, it's started, sir.
It's okay.
Exactly okay, sir.
Now it's okay, sir.
Now it's moving. Maybe possible that when you do full screen, it has some issues. It's okay.
Yes, sir.
yes,
Now
yes, yes.
characteristics of SE.
Yeah. Characteristics, we are here only. That means I was talking that there is a risk in social entrepreneurship. And risk is what? When your idea becomes successful, there is chances for converting a social entrepreneur to a commercial entrepreneur. Because somewhere the people compromise with when we see the luxury of becoming a commercial entrepreneur. So it's important that adopting a mission to create a sustained social value. You have that spirit when you are starting. Means this is the core character. Always you have to decide if you want to be a commercial entrepreneur, go and do the commercial activities. But once you have that clear mindset that no, what Bindeswar Pathak did, Bindeswar Pathak, the clear objective, I have to serve the people. That is the only thing. That is the only motivation. And when that motivation comes to us, that I want to serve the people, your private value will be vanished. Your private value will know where the priority to you. Priority will be the social value. I have to, if I have something extraordinary, if I can have that thought that I can serve the majority of the people, I have to go according to that. Recognizing and relentlessly pursuing new opportunity to serve that mission. I have made up my mind. Yunus have made up that mind that I have to serve the people, serve the below poverty line people, poorer people in Bangladesh. So always try to do. He dedicated his life for the Grameen. And he got the Nobel Prize for that Grameen initiatives in Bangladesh. And that creating that the buzzword in all the books of the finance, like microfinancing. And he's dedicated his own life for that. You have that type of mission into that, engaging in a process of continuous innovation, adaptation, and learning. It may be possible. It may be possible that you are solving that thing through a social entrepreneurial mission, solving a problem. You can encounter with the commercial ventures also. Like Selco, what Harish Hande is actually did. You are aware about Harish Hande in Karnataka and different parts of southern part of India. He provided the solar lights to the people who are actually facing the problem of the electricity. It may be possible some commercial companies will enter to that particular domain of your business. But once your business model will be unique, once your innovative adaptation and learning ability will be unique, you will be at a higher node. Like there are several case studies has been written on Arvinda Eye Care. A very, very successful story in the Indian social entrepreneurship history, Arvinda Eye Care. Many people have researched and written. People are aware, definitely people are here in this FDP are aware about Arvinda, how they are operating. They're actually doing their operations in Tamil Nadu. They have this clear mindset. Those who can pay, they can pay. Those who cannot pay, we will take care. And how they're actually managing this? Enlarging the scale. Means if there is a limitation was 100, they are doing the operations of 150. Once the scale is higher, the cost will be lesser. And so that's why they are managing with the people who are actually ability to pay and those people who are not able to pay. And once you are doing the cataract operation, the doctor who will be the successful doctor, those who are doing numbers of operations in a day. And that is a very successful model. Means I'm not going to discuss all the things related to Arvinda. We can study further about that. So it is a very good successful model. They are actually innovating. They are innovating their table, their line. They are innovating in terms of the how they can balance with the costing of the accommodation of the people, how they can manage the transportation of the people from the different part of this country. So they're doing this innovation. And where they are continuously doing, they are successful. Acting boldly without being limited by resources currently in hand. You have that objective. It may be possible that this time you are not successful. This time you are struggling with the people and the financing. But once your idea is something which can attract the people, it may be possible that after some time the people will definitely take the interest in your idea. They will definitely come up to you. And it's important that social enterprises is not the charity. So that's why they are not, every time they are not dependent on the grants. They appreciate the investment. They are ready to return that investment. But they are not actually every time they are dependent on the grants only. The grants is for the charity people. Social entrepreneurship, they can establish their idea, they can establish their businesses, and they can run their businesses and return that investments is possible. Exhibiting a heightened sense of accountability to the constituencies served and for the outcomes created. Means overall characteristics of social entrepreneurs are that they are very committed for their idea. They are very committed for the particular people for whom they are working. So that's why it's not an easier path. It's a difficult path. But once you are successful, people will definitely value you because you are not only putting your idea into that, you are putting your life into social businesses. That is the story behind that, and you are different from the number of the people who are doing the things for the commercial purpose. Now we can move to the next slide, and there is a diagram into that. Is it okay? Forces on social entrepreneurship. Slides are moving.
Yes.
Okay. So there are two type of forces which works in social entrepreneurship: internal forces and external forces. The internal forces are what? Entrepreneurial personality traits. This is important. If you have that entrepreneurial traits, you can take risk. You are not a job seeker. You can have the decision-making mindset. You have some basic knowledge that being an entrepreneur, there are some personality traits you definitely should have if you want to do that. And it's an inner personality. Preparation to exploit opportunity. And it will, how it is possible? With the education, experience, training, attending the some seminars, going for some hackathons, then these internal forces work and trigger on you. And what are the external forces? They are political change, cultural change, economic change. Like this time, with what is happening. I told you, before 10 years, 15, 20 years means the earlier century, the people are not only concerned about job. If I'm studying, I need a job. But in this century, in the last 10 years, it has been changed. Means your political factor is working. Your government is working for making people entrepreneur. The cultural changes. Still, there is a problem. The society is not very much ready until unless you are success. So that's why parents are always not very much appreciating when our young students and graduate, young postgraduates say and go to the parents and say, I want to be an entrepreneur. It's very difficult still. But that shift will be possible. Once there are several stories, the family will also welcome. Okay, this time is a struggle time, but after 10 years, when you will become successful, it's very proud moment for our family. And it's happening. Economic changes. The investors are ready to invest. The banks are ready to give the loans. There are several grants of the governments, the several schemes of the government which are helping the new entrepreneurs. Second block, availability of financial and non-financial resources. And this is a very big reason. From last 8-10 years, I'm working closely with the entrepreneurs, some of my students, some of the outsider entrepreneurs. Means it is possible that somewhere, due to the lack of the finances, first generation entrepreneurs stopped. Very good idea, very good presentation, very good attractive things which can be done, very good the thought process. But with this, when the time of the financing concern, many people have to give up. So that's why government is also thinking in direction. There are a number of the venture capitalists, they are working to that. There are a number of angel investors are in the society. It's increasing. But still it's issue. Taking the loans from the banks is not very easier. You can go and talk to some real first generation entrepreneurs. It's very difficult for them. Many of the times we have to dependent on the families itself. Many of the times we dependent on the friends, relatives for the initial financing. The environmental factors, social climate to social entrepreneurship, political climate that facilitates social innovation. So these factors actually are the responsible that how social entrepreneurship began. Your internal forces and external forces. If the time is less, we have to finish a bit early. Otherwise, we will. This is important. That what people are actually thinking about social entrepreneurs. There are number of myths are actually rumors are in the society itself. Myths. Social entrepreneurs are anti-business. This is totally incorrect. Social entrepreneurs are meant for business. They are the entrepreneurs. They generate revenue. They generate surplus. But they are not the commercial entrepreneurs. They are not only each and every time they will talk about profits. They talk about the how we can solve this problem and giving solution in the forms of a business model. A business model means you are generating surplus itself. The difference between commercial and social entrepreneurship is greed. It's also not very much appreciable. It's not the greed. These are two different hands of entrepreneurship. One is a commercial entrepreneur, one is a social entrepreneur. The commercial entrepreneur have this dream that I want to be a prosperous only. I want to do the things in a better way. But the commercial social entrepreneurship, in the other hand, they feel that I'm not only for the business, I'm not for the making profits. I will solve the problem first. I will see to give the solution to that particular problem, and then actually we will move ahead. The greed is not a good thing. Third is social entrepreneurs are non-profit managers. It's also incorrect. Social businesses is not a non-profit organization. They are not the NGOs. They are not the NPOs. Social entrepreneurs are for profit, but their motive is not only profit. They are generating surplus. Again, I'm telling that when we talk about social enterprises, it's about the generating surplus, and that surplus will be not distributed to the people. That surplus will be used for that particular organization to strengthen the size of the cake so that many people can eat that cake. Many people can avail the benefits of that particular initiatives of that social venture. Social entrepreneurs are born, not made. Okay. Social entrepreneurs are born, not made. It's also a myth. They can be trained, they can be have that proper mentoring, they can have the proper facilities and rest of their own destiny. Social entrepreneurs are misfits. Means no, it's only a theoretical concept. It's still a debate in the academia. The social entrepreneurs is only a theoretical topic. It cannot be successful because every business needs money to run their businesses. But when we actually see with the close microscope view in the working of some successful social organizations, we can actually in a comfortable positions to say that social entrepreneurship can be done in the society. Social entrepreneurship can play a bigger role in the prosperous India, because it may be possible that the benefits of a commercial enterprise are not reaching to the particular community, not reaching to a particular region. That region is still far behind to avail that benefits. Why? It may be possible that the reach is not possible, or actually they are not the ability to pay for that. They have not the affordability of that particular commodity for that. For that, their priorities are something else. So those priority can be solved by the social businesses. Social entrepreneurs usually fail. This is again say that still the rate of failure is very, very high in terms of startups. The rate of failure of being an entrepreneur is also very, very high. So it's not only a case with the social entrepreneurs. It's possible that social entrepreneurs may fail, but it's not like that each and every time social enterprise will be fail. Some other successful example. After these 1 or 2 slides, I will say few examples of the successful businesses. Social entrepreneurs love risk. It's also not correct, because when we see the, like this, some risk has to take. And it's not only with the social entrepreneurs. Every entrepreneur has to take the risk. Because once you not take the risk, how will we move ahead? And everywhere there's a risk. Important challenges with the social entrepreneurs. Money. I think all of us are agree to run a business or to run a new enterprise or to run an established enterprise. It's important to have this money. Competition. Everywhere there's a competition. I say sometimes you have to face in particular domain some professional commercial people. You have come up with that idea, but you do not have the arrangement of that particular finances, and someone will come up that idea before you. They have presented that product in the market. If the competition is possible, demonstrating effectiveness is still. After the launch of the 55 years, the Sulabh International launched in 1970, and still many people are not aware what actually they are doing. So still this is the problem. Technology. The cost of technology is higher for the businesses. It's possible that the community for which you are serving, the people for which you are giving the problems, they are not actually very much specialized or very much in that position to avail those benefits. Trust, human resources, public sector relation. It's also very, very important. You need to have a support of all the stakeholders. You need to have the support of the government. You need to have the support of the civil society. You need to have the support of the local administrations, investors, and the different people. And these are the challenges still prevails. Some challenges are common toward the social and commercial, and some challenges are specific toward the social enterprises. Opportunity, why there is a huge opportunity in front of us. One is the demographic shift. The young people we have, not only in India, in South Asia, you can say, or Southeast Asia, where the number of people, young generation who are aspiring and they can develop the entrepreneurial ventures. New philanthropy. People want to do the charity, but they are not used to do, had that tendency to do the charity. So that's why they launched the business. Some business. That business serves the purpose of philanthropy also and generate some revenue, and that revenue can start another philanthropy activities. Heightened awareness of that sector, increase social welfare through sector welfare reform, entitlement expansion. Means you also want to create your name. You started some foundation. That foundation, you generate some money from the different. Your one family member have generated lots of money from some other businesses, and now you want to do something for the society, but you don't want to run that charity. So these things, and still you can say that there is no distinctive class for social enterprises in Indian Companies Act. Still the legal issues has to work a lot in India. The social ventures are treated as the commercial ventures. They have to fulfill all the formalities what a commercial enterprises. They are not the other, what we can say, some type of the cushions towards the social enterprises. So we, the practitioner or academicians who are working in this field, We always feel that some cushions are required in the initial days, because they are working for to solve the social problem. And when you are working for solving the social problems, you are directly contributing to the role of the government. You are directly or indirectly helping to the government. So still, this is the matter of the debate. Hope so the government will listen something. As I have few minutes left, I try to give some examples of some successful social entrepreneurs. Might be we are aware about some entrepreneurs. Like first name is the Urvashi Sahani. Many of you heard about the Study Hall Education Foundation. It's work for the most disadvantaged girls' education in India. And Urvashi has worked over 900 schools. This is and changed the life of almost 1,50,000 girls directly, and almost more than 250 lakhs girls indirectly with that program. The child education is a social problem in India. Someone has identified that we can do some contributions if we arrange some schooling facility, or we talk about some established school, some girls can be sent to that places, or we open a school. And she was rightly facilitated a social entrepreneur of the year award in 2017 for the dedication and work in terms of the child education, girl child education especially. The second name is very famous. Selco is one of the successful examples of Indian social businesses. What Hyundai and this Selco is doing, the company is rendering sustainable energy sources to rural regions of the country. This project was the first rural solar financing program of India. Means, and it's far before when we are talking. And they are working in the villages, remote villages. They are offering to the people with the help of the local banks, so that they give a nominal subsidy. Bank will give some of the money, that some part of that money goes to the Selco, some part of the money with the bank. And because the people are not have the sufficient amount to give 10,000, 15,000. So from their own savings, sometimes they give 500, sometimes 700. It may be possible. Means they have to repay that particular cost, but that cost is not actually burden onto that. They have to pay in 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, as per their own affordability to that. So it's a good example. Zero Bill Moria, we know Childline, how the Childline is working hard in terms of the trafficking of the childs, and it's also working of the street childs. It's a very, very, very big organization. It's got the school award for that. School is a very famous award in terms of the social businesses. The next is Ansu Gupta. Ansu Gupta is operating in Gujarat. Many of you know about Ansu Gupta. Ansu Gupta is basically from UP, and they have established this Gunj social enterprise that collects used clothes from urban crowd, sort them, fix, and later distributing among the poor and the needy people. So there are Ansu Gupta and Goose. There are several stories on the YouTube we can say, and it's also successful social businesses. Santosh Parulekar established a People Tree. What People Tree is doing, it's providing the formal training to the youth and provide them for reputable job in companies across the country. Operating since 2007, People Tree has trained over more than 1,500 workers. Means they are the more professionals. The actual numbers are very, very high. Susmita Ghosh, Ajayta Shah. Okay. They established this. Trilochan Sastri, many of us heard about the ADR, Association for Democratic Reforms. He's a professor. He belongs to our own community. A professor in IIM Bangalore, and established that particular organization. And they are working. They are actually receiving the investments for the solving the problems of the electoral reforms. They are working for the electoral reforms in the country, and their reports are very, very welcome. They have, and it started with the PIL and converted to the social organization. There are some links where you can find out this. So I think my session is at the end. So this is the last. I just Dr. Misra, if you are there.
Yes, Professor Ambrish, thank you very much.
Yeah.
मैं
Shall I stop
चाहूंगा कि
this?
आप yes be आप be connected sir. Divyanshi.
Thank you so much, sir, for such an interesting session and discussing about social entrepreneurship process, commercial versus social entrepreneurship, and much more points. Now I would like to hand over the session to Dr. Pradeep Kumar Mishra, Associate Professor of Srimati S.P. Patel Institute of Business Management, Sakarchand Patel University.
Thank you, Divyanshi. Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Good evening, one and all. I, Dr. Pradeep Kumar Mishra, would like to thank the esteemed panelists on the behalf of Sakarchand Patel University, Bisnagar, Mehsana, Gujarat, for providing your precious and valuable time for a smooth conduct of 5 days International Faculty Development Program. It gives me immense pleasure to announce the stakeholders that for the first time, this university organized 5 days International Faculty Development Program at such a great level and for providing this opportunity. I'm thankful to the Honorable President, sir, and Honorable Provost, sir, and Director Technical. And also, I would like to thank the Dean of Faculty of Management Studies, Professor Jiten Sharma, sir, Principal of Srimati S.B. Patel Institute of Business Management, Dr. Jayashree Datta, Madam, and our entire team for making the event grand successful. For the first day event, we have the eminent speaker like Professor Pratik Kanchan and Mr. Prashant Sharma. Professor Kanchan has discussed about the management education challenges and opportunities across stakeholders. He has wonderfully put in the line the details about various kind of stakeholders like teachers, students, parents, trustee, bureaucrats, education administrators, and neighborhoods. He discussed about the technologies that has entered into the every learning that management students have to acquire within as well as outside the classroom. He has also explained in detail about the role of stakeholders who are not expected to be experts in a new age technology like IoT, networks, AI, big data, robotics, and automation. But they all have to be the best in ensuring that these technologies do not come in the way of their profiles. Instead of structuring their work performance, these technologies should complement their work and help in enhancing the quality and productivity. He also explained the role of trustee of management institute in maintaining the decent level and standard of education. He further said that in all these processes, we need to focus the quality of education should be never be compromised at the cost of revenue generation. The second element speaker, Mr. Prashant Sharma. Mr. Sharma discussed about the industry 4.0 next generation managers in the age of artificial intelligence. Mr. Sharma discussed the key concept about the industry 4.0 next generation managers in the age of artificial intelligence, role of management and technology, digital marketing and technical knowledge, knowledge of AI, manager as a think as a AI, techno managers requiring the era. And the second is 10th October 2023. For the second day event, we have the eminent speaker like Professor Rajkumar Singh Gautam, Professor Sudhir Saran, and Dr. Jiten Sharma. Professor Rajkumar discussed about the entrepreneur education in context of Industry 4.0. He discussed about employability quotient, industry academia collaboration, make in India required new skills, training and consultancy. Universities and institutions should be focused on entrepreneurial education. Institutions need to understand the gap between academia and industry, role of technology in education, focus on human values, focus on research and development. He also highlighted that the modern institutions need to adopt new technology for ensuring better performance and monitoring. Professor Sudhir Saran discussed about contextual factors needed for smooth adoption of Industry 4.0 in India. In light of digital intelligence, transformative standards, rapid technological changes, and value mapping, machining, matching, and industry training and consultancy, artificial intelligence, and data sciences. And Dr. Jiten Sharma discussed about the implications of Industry 4.0 on HRM practices. He explained in a detail the various key dimensions of big data analytics, AI impact of industry, TPA, digital skills, upskilling, and digital leadership in relation to its role in managing human capital. For the third day, 11th October 2023, event, we have the eminent speaker like Professor Dilip Kumar M, Vice Chancellor, Signer University, Nigeria, Dr. Sairak Nelukular, Masa University, and Dr. Jasri Datta Madam. Professor Dilip explained in the detail about Education 4.0, the higher education roadmap. He discussed from Industry 1 to Industry 4.0. He also explained how we actively engage them, curriculum development. He also explained in detail how put human qualities in the center of education. Further, he also thrown light on student participation, curriculum development, preparing them for a lifelong learning, the need to focus on quality assurance by higher education institutions, 360-degree multidimensional detailed analysis, project-based learning, and so on. Dr. Sairak had discussed about leadership approaches, Industry and Academia 4.0. He discussed about the Bloom's taxonomy, learning outcomes, diversity, equality, lifelong learning, adaptive leadership, digital leadership, global perspective, and sustainability and sustainable development goals. Professor Jasri Datta Madam discussed about changes in management education as per Industry 4.0. She described about the analytical skills, academic research, business analytics, changes in qualifications, rapid adoption of changes. And the day 4th, 12 October 2023, for the 4-day event, we have the eminent speakers like Mr. Nadeep Goyat and Dr. S.K. Patel. Mr. Goyat discussed about academia engagement for future skilling. He explained the various key dimensions related to academia engagement, future of skillings, market aligned courses, skilled workforce required, solution for concerns, equal partnership, behavioral dynamics. He also focused about the how to fill the gap between industry and academia. And we believe it will be possible through academia industry collaboration and communications. Professor S.K. Patel, he explained the various key concepts on the challenges faced by students to cope up with the Industry 4.0. He also discussed from the Industry 4.0, 1.0 to Industry 4.0 and challenges with the environmental industries. He discussed about the technical skills, optimum use of technology, and need and importance of Industry 4.0 and smart industry. He focused on big data analytics, autonomous robots, horizontal and vertical cyber security, technology and cloud computing, and various other aspects. And day 5 today, for the fifth day event, we have the eminent speaker like Professor Dr. Siddharth Shankar, Vice Chancellor Indira Gandhi University of Medical Sciences and Technological Sciences, and Professor Dr. Ambarish Singh, Registrar, Rajki Engineering College, Azamgarh. Dr. Siddharth Shankar discussed about the research and innovation in management education in light of new opportunities and challenges being thrown by latest wave of technological advancement. And Professor Ambarish Singh focused on social entrepreneurship, a roadmap ahead for prosperous India. Dr. Ambarish discussed about the social entrepreneurial landscape in India and explained the various key concepts related to social business model. He discussed about the prominent social entrepreneurs of India who are successfully running their businesses on the philosophy of social entrepreneurship. Last concluding remarks, faculty development programs are designed to support, enhance the skills, knowledge, and overall effectiveness of faculty members in education institutions. These programs serve various important aims: improving teaching and learning skills. One of the primary goals of the faculty development program is to enhance the quality of teaching and learning. This includes strategies for more effective classroom instructions, the use of innovative teaching methods, and the incorporation of technology into the education. Enhancing pedagogical skills. Faculty development programs aim to improve the pedagogical skills of educators. This can involve training on active learning strategies, student engagement techniques, assessment methods, and development of course materials. Adapting to changing educational trends as the education evolve, faculty development programs help educations stay current with the changing trends in the best practices. This includes addressing new teaching technology, evolving curriculum design, and use of online learning platforms. Research and scholarship. FDP support the advancement of research and scholarship among the educators. This might include workshop on research methodologies, grant writing, and opportunity for collaboration with other institutions and scholars. Promoting inclusive and diversity. Many faculty development programs focus on the promoting diversity, equality, and inclusion in the classroom. Mentoring the professional growth. These programs often provide the mentoring, the guide for the faculty members, helping them advance in their career, seek leadership roles, and native the challenges of academia. Assessment and evaluation. Faculty development program help to faculty members to develop skills in assessing and evaluating student performance and course effectiveness. This can including training and design of valid assessment tools and using the data to improve courses. Improving administration skills. For faculty members who take the administrative roles, faculty development program can provide training, leadership, management, and administrative skills. So it's strengthening institutional goals. Faculty development program align faculty members with the institutional goals and strategic priorities of the educational organizations, ensuring their contributes to these broader objectives. So last, fostering a culture continuous improvement. Faculty development program promotes the culture of continuous improvement within the institutions. These encourage faculty seeks ongoing professionals development and constantly refine their teaching and research practices. Retain and job satisfaction. Supporting faculty development program can improve job satisfaction retention rates, as it demonstrates that the institutions value the growth and development of its faculty. Enhancing students' outcome. Ultimately, the primary beneficiaries of the faculty development program are the students. By improving teaching and pedagogy, these programs contribute to the better students' outcome and success. FDP programs are crucial component of any educational institution's efforts to maintain academic excellence, adapt to changing circumstances, and provide the best possible educational experiences for the students. These above aims will be relevant as per the emerging trends in the industries across the globe. It is a humble attempt to intent and augmenting appropriate relevant skills among the teachers and researchers working in various universities, colleges, professional institutions in a commerce and management. The major pedagogy of the FDP was based on the experiential narrative delivered by the eminent educators and industry professionals. The major pedagogy of this FDP was based on narrative delivered by the eminent educationists and industry professionals. Hence, I understand such 5-day international FDP program will bring a massive positive impact on the society and academia at large. We also would like to ensure you to bring such kind of training and learning session at regular interval in a near future. Thank you. Thank you again. Jai Bharat. Jai Garvi Gujarat. Thank you, participants, and we'll be share the feedback link, and we'll be share the one question questionnaire within 2 days. And after the questionnaire, and we'll be issue the entire certificates who have attended the successfully and fill the feedback form. So we'll be get after 1 week to your concern email ID. And I'm sure definitely we'll going to organize such kind of a faculty development program and refresher course in the near future. Thank you very much.
Congratulations, Dr. Misra, for successful
Thank
organization
you.
of this FDP.
Thank you, Ambrish sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. So, congratulations for all the participants for successfully
Anybody
completing
want
the
to give any kind of suggestion, complaint, suggestion? So you are this forum is open to you, open for all.
Okay, thank you very much. May I leave, Dr. Misra?
Just a minute, sir. Okay, thank you. Thank you again. See you soon. Bye.
Thank you so much, sir, for expressing your gratitude towards everyone and the speakers. Now, here we come to an end of the 5th day of International Faculty Development Program, and also thank you everyone for joining and being present for all the 5 days of International Faculty Development Program. Thank you.